You know, not long ago, I was just like many of you. I had big dreams but felt like I was always falling short. I'd look at people who seemed to have it all figured out and wonder, what's their secret? The truth is, there was no secret. They just kept going. Let me take you back a bit. I grew up in a small town where opportunities felt scarce. My family wasn't wealthy, and there weren't a lot of role models who could show me the way. I remember being in high school, feeling like I had no direction. I wasn't the best student, and honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. But what I did know was this: I wanted to make something of myself, something bigger than where I started. First, the road was rocky. I tried a few things, failed, tried again, failed again. It was frustrating. It felt like no matter how hard I worked, I wasn't getting anywhere. And during those times, I thought about quitting. I even told myself, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But here's the thing: I had one thing that was stronger than my doubts: persistence. I started looking at the small wins, the things that didn't feel like much, but added up over time. Like getting up early every day, even when I didn't feel like it, or learning one new thing every week, or finding people who inspired me and learning from them. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't fast. But slowly, things started to shift. And then, one day, I realized something. The struggle, the setbacks, the failures, they weren't the end. They were part of the process. Every time I failed, I learned something valuable. Every time I picked myself back up, I became stronger. It took me years to understand that success doesn't happen overnight. We live in a world where people share their best moments on social media, making it seem like everyone else is moving forward faster than you. But trust me, most people are struggling in their own ways. What you don't see are the little battles they face, the same fears and doubts you carry. Everyone has their own journey, and it doesn't look the same for anyone. So here's my advice to you: don't compare yourself to others. Don't look at someone else's highlight reel and think that's how your life should be. Instead, focus on what you can control and take one small step at a time. It's those small, everyday efforts that make the biggest difference in the long run. And don't be afraid of failure. I know it's easy to be scared of falling flat on your face. But I've learned that failing is not the end. It's just a sign that you're trying. And trying is all you need to do. Each time you get up, you're that much closer to where you want to be. I'm not perfect. I still have my challenges. But every day, I remind myself that progress doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Keep showing up for yourself, even when it feels hard. Keep pushing forward, even when it feels slow. And most importantly, be kind to yourself along the way. You're doing better than you think. Remember, it's not about how fast you get there, but that you keep going. Just keep taking those small steps. And someday, You'll look back and realize how far you've come. I'm not going to lie to you, it wasn't easy. The first few years felt like I was running in circles, doing everything I could, but not getting the results I hoped for. I remember one particularly tough time when I had put everything into a project, and it failed so badly that I wanted to hide away from the world. I felt humiliated. It was the kind of failure that hits deep. But here's what I learned. Failure doesn't define you. It's what you do after the failure that shapes you. I had to change my perspective. Instead of seeing it as a setback, I started seeing it as a lesson. Every mistake taught me something valuable, sometimes about myself, sometimes about the world around me, and sometimes about the way I approach things. It wasn't an overnight transformation, though. There were days when I felt like quitting. Days when I thought, what's the point? Maybe I'm just not meant for this. But there was this quiet voice inside me, a voice that refused to let me give up. It would remind me of all the little victories, the times I managed to get back up, the moments I chose to keep going even when I didn't feel like it. That's what carried me through. And here's the thing. It wasn't until I stopped focusing so much on the destination and started focusing on the process that I began to truly grow. I stopped measuring my success by the big things and started celebrating the small wins, the phone calls I made, the doors I knocked on, the moments I took to improve my skills. Even the simple days when I showed up for work when I was exhausted. Those little things added up. They turned into bigger things. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was from a mentor of mine. He told me, "You're never as bad as your worst moment, and you're never as good as your best moment." That stuck with me. It helped me realize that life isn't about having a perfect track record. It's about doing the best you can every single day, no matter where you are in your journey. Another thing I had to learn, hard as it was to stop expecting things to be fair. Life doesn't always give you the breaks you think you deserve. Sometimes, things won't go your way, and that's just the way it is. The challenge is to keep moving forward anyway. Some of the most successful people I know didn't have the best circumstances. They just decided that no matter what, they were going to keep going. And you know what? That's what made them stand out. It also helped when I learned to stop comparing my journey to others. This was a huge breakthrough for me. It's easy to look around and see people who seem to be doing better and feel like you're falling behind. But the truth is, we all have our own timing. Some people climb quickly, others take their time. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're moving in the right direction, at your own pace. So here's what I want you to know, especially if you're feeling discouraged or like you're stuck. You are on the right path. You just have to trust the process. If you keep learning, keep improving, keep showing up, even when it doesn't seem like anything is happening, eventually, it will all come together. You will have setbacks. You will face challenges. But every time you get back up, you're building something stronger than just a career or a goal. You're building resilience. You're learning to trust yourself. And believe me, That's the foundation of everything you want to achieve. One of the best moments of my life came when I realized I was no longer chasing a dream. I was living it because I had become the person who could make it happen. That shift didn't come from luck or circumstances. It came from persistence, from pushing through the tough days, from learning to embrace both success and failure as part of the same journey. So, no matter where you're at today, remember this: the struggle is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're growing. And every step you take, no matter how small, gets you closer to the life you want to create. Just keep going. Keep showing up. One small step at a time. You've got this. Looking back now, there's something I wish I'd known earlier in my journey. Something that would have made a huge difference. It wasn't about working harder or pushing more. It wasn't about getting more stuff or hitting certain milestones. What truly made the biggest impact on my life was understanding why I was doing all of this in the first place. You see, I spent so much time chasing external success. I thought that if I just worked hard enough, I'd achieve the results everyone around me seemed to have: financial success, recognition, approval. But the truth is, once I hit some of those goals, I realized they didn't bring the satisfaction I expected. It was like I was crossing things off a list, but the list never felt finished. There was always something else. It wasn't until I began to ask myself, what is the real purpose behind all of this? Why do I want this? That things began to change. I started focusing on my values, the things that truly mattered to me: connection, growth, helping others. I realized that I wasn't just working to achieve success for the sake of it, but to create a life that was meaningful, not just for me, but for the people around me. Finding your purpose doesn't happen overnight. For me, it was a gradual process. I didn't wake up one day with everything figured out. It took a lot of reflection, trial, and error. But I learned that once I connected my work to something bigger than just getting ahead, my whole perspective changed. It wasn't about the money anymore, or what people thought of me. It was about being able to make a positive impact, no matter how big or small. If you're struggling with finding your purpose, don't rush it. Take your time. Ask yourself questions like, what makes me feel alive? What can I do every day that excites me, even when it's hard? Sometimes, it's not a giant revelation that changes everything. Sometimes, it's just the small things that give you clues. One thing that kept me grounded during tough times was staying true to my values. Even when it was tempting to take shortcuts or give in to pressures. When I first started, I thought success meant being everything to everyone, pleasing clients, fitting into what others expected, or copying the formula of success I saw online. But as I kept moving forward, I realized the importance of staying authentic, of doing things that felt right to me. This isn't always easy. In a world that's full of distractions, opinions, and comparisons, it can be tempting to follow the crowd. But the best decisions I made were the ones where I stuck to my principles. Even when it was hard, I had to trust myself, trust my instincts, and not let fear of judgment steer me off course. I remember a time when I was offered a big opportunity, a fast track to success in someone else's terms. It seemed great at first. The money, the prestige, the connections. But something didn't feel right. The work didn't align with my values. And it would have meant sacrificing time with the people I loved and losing sight of why I started in the first place. I had to say no, even though it felt risky. And honestly, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Sometimes saying no to something that's not right for you is just as powerful as saying yes to something that is. Now, I know that life isn't perfect, and I still have challenges ahead. But I've learned that staying true to my values and connecting with my purpose gives me the strength to push through the hard times. When the going gets tough, it's easy to get lost in the grind. But if you know why you're doing it, if you have a deeper connection to your work, keeps you going even when you feel like giving up. So here's my advice to you. Find what matters to you. Find what makes your heart beat faster. What lights a fire inside of you. It might not be glamorous or what everyone else is doing, and that's okay. Your path is your own, and it doesn't need to look like anyone else's. Don't chase empty goals or try to measure yourself by someone else's standards. Life is too short for that. The real reward comes when you do the work that's true to you, the work that fulfills you, even on the hard days. That's when you'll feel truly satisfied. And remember, the journey is never linear. There will be bumps. There will be forks in the road. And there will be days when it feels like you're taking one step forward and two steps back. But keep moving. Stay connected to your purpose. Keep showing up. And be kind to yourself when things don't go as planned. You're doing better than you think. The most important thing I've learned is that success isn't a destination. It's a process. It's about learning, growing, and being true to who you are, no matter where you're at. As long as you keep showing up, keep learning, and keep believing in your own journey, you're on the right path. You don't need to have everything figured out today. You don't need to have all the answers right now. Just take it one step at a time, and trust that each step will get you closer to the life you're meant to live. The moral of the story is this: true success comes from staying true to your values and purpose, not from external achievements or what others expect. Life is a journey, and resilience is key. Focus on your own path. Trust the process. And don't be afraid to say no to things that don't align with who you really are. The reward is in the journey, not just the destination. Let's enrich our vocabulary with some new words. Purpose, the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. Example: finding your purpose in life can give you direction and motivation. External, relating to or located on the outside. Outside the individual. Example: the external pressure of society can often make us forget our true values. Satisfaction, fulfillment of one's wishes, expectations, or needs. Example: true satisfaction comes when you align your work with your values. Gradual, taking place or changing slowly over a period of time. Example: Finding your purpose is a gradual process that happens through experience and reflection. Reflect. To think deeply or carefully about something. Example: I spent a lot of time reflecting on what truly mattered to me. Authentic. Genuine. Real. Not false or copied. Example: living an authentic life means staying true to who you are, regardless of external pressures. Instincts. A natural or intuitive way of acting or thinking. Example: trusting your instincts can often lead you to the right decisions. Principles. Fundamental truths. Laws. Or beliefs that guide behavior or actions. Example: my principles guide the decisions I make, even when they are difficult. Prestige. Respect and admiration based on achievement or quality. Example: the opportunity seemed prestigious, but it didn't align with my values. Sacrificing. Giving up something valuable for the sake of something else. Example: sometimes you have to sacrifice certain things in life to stay true to your purpose. Fulfilled. Feeling happy because of having achieved your desires or goals. Example: when you live according to your values, you feel more fulfilled. Grind. Hard, repetitive work, often monotonous or exhausting. Example: it's easy to get caught up in the daily grind and lose sight of what really matters. Authenticity. The quality of being authentic or real. Example: authenticity is about being true to yourself, even if it's not what others expect. Resilience. The ability to recover quickly from difficulties. Toughness. Example: resilience is key to pushing through tough times and continuing to grow. Judgment. The ability to make considered decisions or come to sensible conclusions. Example: don't worry about other people's judgment. Focus on what's best for you. Alignment. Arrangement in a straight line, or the state of being in agreement or harmony. Example: when your actions are in alignment with your values, life feels more purposeful. I'm so glad you spent this time with me. If you liked the story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Take care, and see you next time.